The date is January 1, 2020, and my entire world is about to shift in its polarity. Over the last several years, I shared a very intimate relationship with another man, unbeknownst to George. As we sat together contemplating the pieces of our life and how to disentangle them from each other on January 1st of 2020, just before the virus was unleashed, a very different reality began to unfold. This is the intimate feminine and the gorgeous telling of unconditional love in the most excruciating of circumstances. Settle into your body and feel the beautiful purity and strength of the radically opened masculine heart. I'm telling you all of this because these are the foundational pieces of what will come through in my podcast. These are the experiences that have disrupted what I believe to be true and actually brought me into a deeper intimacy and alignment with myself, with my true divinity, not just this new agey, do a practice and you'll be able to feel it, but this dissension into my own underbelly and underworld and darkness and insecurity and distortion and really mangled understanding of relationship and love and masculine, feminine dynamics. My world rocked during that time, and there was more to come. I told George I wanted divorce. He did not. He was very much against it, and yet he wanted to honor what I desired, and so we moved in that direction. He contacted a divorce lawyer. We were everything in motion. This is through Christmas time, and it was January 1st. January 1st of 2020, very auspiciously timed, yes. January 1st of 2020, we were talking about how to begin to separate our assets. We had already spoken with our children. We were figuring out what our next steps were. And it had begun to happen to me probably in 2018 that something would drop in. And even though I had no idea how to tell George what I was living in this alternate life, this double life, I would begin to get pieces. And at first they were about my work, and they were so intimate and vulnerable. I would weep telling him. And by now they began to be things like, I want a divorce, which was very hard to say to him. It wasn't flip or taken lightly. It was very tender and heartbreaking and exposing to say this to him. Raw. Both of us were raw all the time. And so it was January 1st. We're having this conversation. And for a few days, I had sort of a running dialogue within myself, which the irony of how it came through still mystifies me. It wasn't guilt. I had no guilt about the experience I had had. I had no shame. I knew I navigated it as cleanly as I could for who I was then. Very consciously, I made choices with intention during that time, for sure. And it had been running through my internal system. If I don't fully disclose all of who I am to George, am I sabotaging any possibility we actually do have to go forward together? Which is so counterintuitive. I still can't explain to you why that was the dialogue, that I would be sabotaging us if I didn't tell him, even though we were going through the motions of divorce. And so there we were in our kitchen having this conversation, each of us moving through being very tender and being very open with each other and feeling the grief of our coming apart, because we have never stopped loving each other deeply. And I looked at him and I told him, I had a sexual relationship with this man. Immediately, without a moment of hesitation, we were sitting in the bar stools in our kitchen. I was looking at him. He was looking at me. No moment of hesitation. He was holding my hand already, and he said, right into my eyes and straight from his heart, I forgive you, Jacqueline, because I unconditionally love you. And he got up from the chair and he began to pace our kitchen. And he said it 4 more times. He would stop and come to me. I forgive you, Jacqueline, because I unconditionally love you. I could not fathom then what that meant. And very likely neither could George in his human form. But this was his God talking to me. This was the pure, divine presence of his being that does love unconditionally. Perhaps for the first time I ever encountered it in my life. That was a major turning point for us. And still, it was not happily ever after. The turning point was everything that came before that moment was suddenly disrupted and in the path of destruction. I had been saying for years I didn't want to live in the house we were in. I couldn't feel it. It didn't feel alive. I didn't like it. It was time for change. George, being the beautiful man he is, felt this home serves his ability to do his job, to go to work and do his job, to generate the wealth he felt allowed him to support his life and his family in the way he desired. Beautifully pure and noble of him. And he was unwavering in his ability to do that. And yet, this threshold in our life demanded something different. George left his job, put in his notice several months later, but we knew in that moment we were going to sell our home, our family home, the one place our children remembered and were raised in. The hub of our life, the landing point, the sanctuary that supported George in his incredible success within the world of banking and real estate. And we began to move blindly. We had no idea where we would live next. We had no idea what we would create. We had no idea if our relationship would make it or not. Everything was disrupted by truth, not by the hiding, not by the secrecy. That's the beauty here. Our life wasn't disrupted by the choice I made to follow what made me feel alive. Our life was disrupted by speaking truth, by looking at what was real, what was already dead, and what needed to be cut loose and let go so that we could create again. We sold our home. George left his job. We spent the summer on the coast of Maine in our family cottage that came through his family lineage and inheritance. And then we started traveling. All the things George had put off, all the places he wanted to visit, most especially the Grand Canyon. Everything he put off for family, for work, for creating the life he now chose to make his life. His statement, "I unconditionally love you," from my perspective, became the defining foundation of the path he would walk for the next few years, because the next few years were now bringing his life, his energy, his belief system into alignment with that statement. It already lived in him. It was just buried underneath all of the things a good man does. And he began to strip away the programming, the expectations, the don't think too much of yourself teachings of his family, his grandparents, his parents, the world around him. Yes, you might be a powerful man, but don't think you're that great, because you're not. Began to strip them away. As I began to strip away even more the fantasies, the programs about what it means to love, what it is to be feminine, what it is to be masculine, they're very different in the energetic frequency than they are in presentation. And so we began to experience that. Our life was disruption by truth, by expression, through the deep intimacy we were intentionally cultivating, partly with conversation, partly with chosen action, partly with intentionally being apart when needed, which to my system previously meant you don't love me. Each of us were being taken apart, exposed, and brought together. First of all, bonded to ourself. That's the piece that's missing. And most of us don't even know what that means. What is it to be intimate with self? What the hell is that? I remember in women's group and in other places following that, well, you have to love yourself first. And in myself, I was so damn frustrated. What the fuck is that? Love myself first. That's ridiculous. Love yourself. Even sexually pleasuring myself. I wanted nothing to do with that. What is that? I want to feel. I want to feel another human. I want to feel the heat of touch. I want to feel masculine fingertips on my body and his lips and him inside of me. I want to feel. Coming from a woman who, as a child, I remember my beloved pastor from the pulpit teaching how you couldn't trust your feelings. You couldn't trust the carnal desires. And so I both wanted and strived for them and didn't trust them. This was now our world following the revelation of January 1, 2020 into the quote virus, right? The virus that makes us ill and in some ways reprograms, reconditions us, strips away. This virus has stripped away all of the illusion of what it is to be safe and secure and have a job that will take care of you and a relationship. And suddenly you can't see your family. You can't go to work. You can't leave your home. We weren't struggling with that. We were traveling pretty freely. And yet we were experiencing it, each of us individually, internally, and together. No lies, even by omission, unintentional, subconscious, no unconsciousness could survive between us. The nature of George and I is that when we are being our true selves, him in his full, strong, fiercely strong. That man is an Aries warrior. And he is like granite when he is clear and moving forward, strong, a mountain. And my feminine devotion to love and eros and intimacy and living alive, not just being the stone to get it done, not just gutting it through as he knew how to do. He's a master at that. But living alive in whatever you choose. That's what I brought to our connection. And when we are on, when I'm in my feminine essence, beautifully receptive of all of him, we are pure fucking magic. And we know it. And that is the space of our life we are in now. We're no longer destroying. The intense disruption has subsided. My continual quest to find the right one, to live alive in relationship, intermingled with a 30-year-old belief, it's not George. It's not George. I got it wrong. He's not the right one. I've had to let go of that. And believe me, I have bumped up against that 1,000,000 times, over and over and over and over again. And I would trust and I would settle in, and something old, seemingly old, would happen, and energetically I was out. Nope, it's not it. I'm not staying. I'm not doing this again. I was out. Now we create from what we vision, from who he is and who I am. And I will tell you, it continues to be vulnerable. There are many stories I'm not going to get into right now, but they will come out of this intentional deepening into our true potency of being bonded partners, of being lovers, of being co-creators, of rewriting what it is to love on this planet now as who we are, not how it's been written in the books and how it's supposed to be and what it looks like. And if you don't have that, you're getting it wrong. I have done that not only with the fairy tales of my childhood, with mentors, with teachers, with influencers, with the quote experts. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing it like that. I don't have it. We don't have it. And I panic. And that strong man every single time. We belong together. I know it, Jacqueline. I know it. I know we are meant to be together. I know we are meant to create together. And all of that is true without us holding each other hostage. I've taken off the rings. I've used the language of I'm liberating myself. We've gone through periods of, nope, we're not married. We're not even celebrating our anniversary. This year is 30 years, August 22nd, and you can bet your booty we are celebrating. In fact, we will have some kind of ceremony. And we've decided not to rewrite our vows. We will be writing. But we are not making eternal vows. We know the ones that exist. We know the connection between us. We know the love that is here. We are choosing to live and create and trust that. From that, as that. Our love, our frequency. It won't look like anybody else's, and neither will yours. All of this is why I want to create this space to have these conversations. because we're not the only ones. I guarantee you. I have not made this experience between George and I public in any way until now. And I know the more it comes into my physical reality and expression, the more of you will be sharing, yeah, me too, me too, me too. And so this space is not to tell you how it is, not to say I'm the one who got it right. It's for expression and sharing and hearing people's stories and having perhaps deeper connection to you, to your love, to your relationship, to your sexuality, to your expression, to your creative juice, to your magic, to your masculine and feminine energetics and how they engage this world. That is what this space is for. I am excited to finally bring it all out. I've known there would be a right time, and George and I needed our own time and space for everything we've encountered and to purify and deepen into who we are and what is true now. Knowing that will continue to change and evolve, and that's okay. There's no arrival point. When there is, I won't be here. That's it. Until then, there's no ending. In 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, I could be sitting here and going, oh my gosh, yeah, thought I had that figured out. Now, as consciousness continues to sharpen and evolve and change, which is happening rapidly, that is the time we are in. We are evolving faster than the speed of light in terms of our consciousness, our energy, and the ways that we create and engage and are and make love. Literally through being ourselves, we create out of nothing love, and we make love in the body, in the sex, in the heart, in the soul, in the energy, in the cosmos. I haven't even touched on how much is possible there. We will explore that too. And at this point, I totally invite you to connect with me, Jacqueline L. Robinson on Facebook. You can email me. Currently, I'm using kissingthesacred@gmail.com. That will change. And what do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear about? What touches you? What's true for you? This is a space for expression, and it's also intentionally creating a web of community. However that unfolds, I'm here for it. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I didn't pre-plan all of what would come through in this conversation. I just got very clear guidance and a vision that this is how to begin. So I look forward to all of this time with you and connecting with you and sharing with you and expanding our circle around this planet in this most exceptional, absolutely mind-blowing and auspicious time. What an incredible time to be alive.
Hi, loves. I wanted to take a moment to first of all thank you for being right here, right now, for allowing yourself to become stilled and feel the sensations of love moving through your system and body. For those who desire a more personal connection, I've created channels at varying levels to offer deeper engagement, including exclusive email exchange to share your thoughts or questions, monthly private group coaching sessions, or personal one-on-one sessions with me. You can view my podcast salons on JacquelineLRobinson.com, intentionally designed to intensify the connection through crystal, gold, and diamond frequencies. Our next few episodes will bring in the voice of George as together we share how these moments have changed us and continue to do so. We'll have conversations with the women who walked beside us as we navigated the destruction of our old dynamics and have now moved into creation of an entirely new marriage and vintage love affair. I would love you to join in if you feel the desire to be present. So much love to each of you. Thank you for being here with me and with us. Jacqueline.